Wasn't there some speculation that she was on Epstein's yacht at one point in time? There was like photos with her and Prince Andrew way back in the day when she was like in her early 20s. Wow.
And they just, like their parents, they love themselves some money, don't they?
It is interesting how she's exposing her as a yacht girl, someone who was paid off by rich men to go and hang out.
Knows that Meghan Markle was a hoe. He knows that Meghan Markle had a relationship with Prince Andrew. He knows that he is stuck in California. He knows he has wrecked his life with a D-list mattress actress.
The wider picture is half in, half out, doesn't work. And let's look at how are the royal family using and potentially manipulating their role of soft power.
Suggested that the then Meghan Markle likely spent time with Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein.
Meghan Markle was, at least for a time, known to be part of the same social circles as Prince Andrew, which means she may have been around certain high-profile events connected to him. That statement didn't come from random gossip. It came from Virginia Giuffre's attorney, David Boies, speaking publicly on the record. And now that old comment is being dragged back into the spotlight in a major way. Behind the quiet streets of Montecito, pressure appears to be building. A former Victoria's Secret model who once attended private gatherings at Soho House has stepped forward with an interview that's turning heads. She's talking about elite parties, luxury yacht trips, and connections that many believed had faded into the background. And yes, the broader Epstein network has once again become part of the conversation, though no direct claims have been confirmed. For years, online sleuths have claimed certain photos disappeared and certain stories were pushed aside. Now, blogger Jessica Reed Krause, known for her long-running independent investigations, says she's preparing to release research she's been compiling since 2018. According to her, she has gathered statements, archived materials, and accounts from individuals who say they had difficult experiences with Meghan.
Before she even met Prince Harry.
This is bigger than we could ever imagine. There's all these honeypot women, such as Meghan Markle.
Why go to somewhere like Soho House if, or any private members club? Like, normal people don't do that. We go to the pub. Why go somewhere where you're not allowed cameras and everything?
He was infiltrating all the royal families in Europe, and how you infiltrate is through the men. And men, if you have a weak man that loves women and that will have sex with anything, they test you. They see how far you'll go. And these men are so stupid.
And that statement from the lawyer was so smartly worded. It was vague and it was...
Whether this changes anything remains to be seen. But the timing has definitely reignited public curiosity. Jessica's Instagram stories lit up social media and immediately sent Meghan's most loyal defenders into overdrive. She hinted that she has access to information that was allegedly wiped from the internet. References to Soho House, past social connections tied to Epstein, archived photos, and accounts from former staff who claim they were treated poorly. She didn't lay everything out at once, but the teasers alone were enough to spark intense debate. Then came the post that really caught attention. Jessica shared an old image of Virginia Giuffre as a young woman and added a caption suggesting that it might explain why Virginia originally wanted Meghan to testify during legal proceedings connected to Prince Andrew. Years ago, Virginia's attorney, David Boies, told the Daily Beast that Meghan could potentially serve as a witness. People magazine even reported on it back in 2021. After that, the topic seemed to fade from mainstream headlines. But Jessica says she isn't the only one speaking now. Another name entered the conversation, Barbara. Before brushing this off, consider her background. Barbara appeared on the covers of major fashion magazines and worked with brands like Ralph Lauren and Victoria's Secret. She began modeling as a child and stepped...
Vague by design. So that's why I think it was a warning to Meghan. If I sit here with my professional PR hat on, looking at that statement, they go through so many drafts and it's, up to kind of 5-10 people around a table drafting that. Every single word in a legal statement holds weight.
Prince William means business. He's had enough. He wants to clean the monarchy, and it's all now in the hands of the courts. Meghan Markle is in full mode panic along with Harry because they both know what they did, and they both know that what they did could be criminal.
Away from the industry in 2013 after what many would call a highly successful career. In a recent interview, Barbara explained that through professional relationships, including dating someone connected to entertainment producer David Blaine, She attended gatherings where Epstein was present. She described attending private events in New York and said the environment made her uncomfortable. She claimed she often saw very young women at these parties and international models who seemed out of place. These are her personal accounts and have not been independently verified, but they are fueling renewed scrutiny. Barbara says she was familiar with Soho House in London and the elite yacht scene that drew high-profile figures. She also mentioned recognizing Prince Andrew and said Prince Harry was frequently present at Soho House events during that time. According to her, the atmosphere felt intense and exclusive, filled with celebrities, models, and wealthy guests. It's important to note that these are individual claims being shared publicly, not confirmed legal findings. Still, the resurfacing of these stories has reignited conversations about who knew what, who attended which events, and why certain topics seem to disappear from headlines. And with more interviews promised, the discussion is only heating up. Barbara goes on to describe seeing major names in the room, including Ron Burkle.
About the idea that this House and Habit investigation is finally going to drop. I mean, I'd love to see how Sunshine Sachs, who is the PR company famous for dirty tricks, back on board after she sacked Meredith Main.
And celebrities like Renee Zellweger, all receiving VIP treatment. She says the atmosphere felt exclusive and tightly controlled, almost like certain areas were reserved for private introductions. At one point, she speculates about what might have been happening behind the scenes, even wondering out loud if deals or quiet arrangements were being made. She admits she doesn't have proof of anything hidden, but she insists the vibe felt calculated and layered, not just casual partying. She compares the energy to an upscale members-only club in New York, the kind of place where getting an invitation meant you had status. It wasn't random, it wasn't open to everyone. You had to be selected. When the interviewer shifts the focus to Meghan Markle, Barbara doesn't hesitate. She claims that during that time, Meghan wasn't widely known in Hollywood. According to Barbara, Meghan would not have been considered a top-tier celebrity in those circles. When someone suggests she may have been viewed as a model, Barbara quickly pushes back and says she did not see her that way. In 2015, Meghan attended the opening of Soho House in Istanbul. There are photos from that event showing her among other guests. Most of the high-profile attendees were identified in reports, while Meghan was simply listed as a guest. Barbara questions why someone at that stage of fame would be flown internationally for such an exclusive launch event. When asked directly why that might happen, Barbara speculates that some attendees at elite gatherings are sometimes positioned to attract wealthy or influential men. The interviewer tries to clarify what she means, referencing old Hollywood tactics where charm and proximity open doors. Barbara does not provide concrete evidence, only her interpretation based on what she observed in those social circles. Things intensify when Barbara is shown a photo of Meghan alongside Petra at a New York fashion event. She suggests that certain
I'm going to show you some things just for you to get your head around this. How deep Meghan Markle was in the Epstein files. She's not sleeping well in Montecito. I can tell you that. She is absolutely not.
Has been quietly tracking the cover-up for 8 years. So again, these words really matter, Lauren, because what she is suggesting is that for 8 years, there has been a cover-up involving the truth of Meghan Markle.
Actions start to make more sense when viewed through the lens of who controlled access to those rooms. To understand her perspective, Barbara points to Ron Burkle, the billionaire investor associated with Soho House. Meghan's longtime friend Marcus Anderson has worked within that network, and Soho House even named a rosé wine after him. Barbara says Burkle was a constant presence at many events she attended. She also recalls seeing David Blaine frequently, along with other global celebrities moving in and out of the same spaces. She mentions knowing people connected to philanthropic organizations and high-level social networks at young ages, suggesting that wealth, politics, entertainment, and business often overlapped in ways the public rarely sees. Barbara also shares an unusual observation. She claims Ron Burkle often wore the same style outfit in public appearances, typically a navy Ralph Lauren polo and jeans. She speculates that keeping a consistent look could make event timelines harder to track in photos, though this is her personal theory, not a confirmed strategy. Various outlets have previously described Burkle as socially connected to Epstein. However, discussions about those relationships rarely dominate headlines. Interestingly, when Harry and Meghan stepped back from royal duties in 2020, they reportedly stayed at a property in Canada linked to Burkle. None of these details alone prove wrongdoing, but taken together, they paint a picture of tightly woven elite circles, exclusive access, and long-standing connections that continue to raise questions. Now we get into the timeline, because this is where online investigators say things start looking complicated.
House writes, I have all the scrubbed info. Soho, Epstein connections. Now that is clearly a reference to Soho House.
On July 22nd, 2016, Meghan posted on Instagram about having dinner at home in Toronto. At the time, she was living there while filming and was publicly linked to chef Corey Vidiello, who owned the Flock restaurant chain. Reports suggested their relationship was serious. That's the public narrative at that moment. Then, in August 2016, photos surfaced of Meghan on a yacht in the Caribbean alongside several well-known social figures, including Misha Nono and Ariel Charnas. Also pictured was Karina Jelinek. Online commentators quickly pointed out that Karina had reportedly been in a relationship with Epstein for years. There are publicly available images of Karina and Epstein at various events, including yacht trips. When Barbara was shown Karina's photo during her interview, she said she immediately recognized her and described her as very young at the time. That reaction added fuel to speculation online. There was also debate over the location of the yacht photos. Some early claims suggested New Zealand, but independent online researchers argued the background matched St. Bart's. They pointed to identifiable stone seating and landscape features. St. Bart's sits roughly 120 kilometers from Little St. James, the private island long associated with Epstein. Proximity alone proves nothing, but it intensified discussion. Investigators also revisited a 2014 trip Meghan took with her friend Lindsay Roth. Lindsay posted vacation photos from St. Bart's and Little St. James during that time. In one image, viewers say you can see an aircraft tail number, PJ. Public flight logs show that plane traveling to Little St. James during the same time frame. Whether that connects directly to Meghan remains debated, but the overlapping dates are what people online keep highlighting. So critics piece it together like this. May 2014 vacation photos connected to Little St. James. August 2016 yacht
Drops truth bombs and who always keeps the receipts. And for some time, she has been promising major revelations to come on Meghan Markle, on Meghan Markle's past. Virginia Giuffre, the late Virginia Giuffre, as a much younger woman, with the words, and maybe it will make sense now, YVG, clearly a reference to Virginia Giuffre, originally wanted Meghan to testify at her trial, which, remember, we discussed last week, is something that Virginia Giuffre's lawyer, David Boies, had previously gone public to the Daily Beast.
Trip near St. Bart's with individuals who had social links to Epstein. Then shortly afterward, Meghan meets Prince Harry, and a widely publicized relationship begins. Barbara reacts strongly to that sequence and speculates about the culture surrounding elite yacht events. Her commentary is her opinion, not proven fact. She claims that certain gatherings were known for blurred lines between business, socializing, and personal relationships. She also says she often saw Prince Andrew at high-profile New York events years earlier. Barbara describes knowing models who, according to her, received apartments and financial support from wealthy men. She claims some of these arrangements were understood within certain circles. Again, these are her personal recollections and have not been legally confirmed. When shown an image of a younger Prince Andrew, Barbara said he appeared similar to how she remembered seeing him at events in New York. She also claims he was present at major annual parties, including celebrity Halloween gatherings where Epstein was reportedly also seen. All of this circles back to the 2021 statement from Virginia Giuffre's attorney, David Boies. He outlined 3 reasons Meghan could potentially be asked to testify. First, she resides in the United States. Second, she was at one time socially connected to Prince Andrew. Third, she may have had knowledge of events or conversations during that period. The language was careful. May have seen.
We have your card marked. That is how it reads to me. And, you know, the public, quite rightly, have a lot of unanswered questions for Meghan Markle.
I was at Epstein's condo a few times for parties and events because they were all affiliated. So, you know, I always saw underage girls there. I always saw models that were from Eastern Europe that barely spoke English. They were there, you know, side pieces hanging out with these millionaire guys.
May have heard, may have knowledge. It stopped short of accusation. Barbara, who says she has friends familiar with how legal statements are drafted, argues that wording in high-profile cases is rarely random. She believes every phrase is deliberate. To her, the phrasing suggested awareness rather than coincidence. That is her interpretation, not a legal conclusion. People magazine reported on the possibility in 2021, and then public discussion appeared to quiet down. There were no major follow-up developments regarding Meghan's involvement. Barbara expands her theory further, suggesting that Epstein sought access to elite institutions by cultivating relationships through powerful men. She speculates that high-profile marriages and relationships sometimes intersect with larger social networks. These claims remain unproven and reflect her personal viewpoint. When asked whether Prince Harry would have known about any of this, Barbara expresses the opinion that he may have been unaware of deeper dynamics within elite social circles. That is speculation and not supported by official findings. She concludes by saying the situation feels bigger than the public understands and suggests that influential figures often move within interconnected networks. However, it's important to stress that many of these claims are based on individual accounts and online research, not court verdicts or formal charges. For years, internet forums have debated whether certain images were removed, whether stories were minimized.
Meghan Markle will be panicking because at the end of the day, Dan, things don't make sense with Meghan Markle. That's a fact.
The show for the agency, and then in the meantime, the Eastern European girls and the other girls are getting human trafficked.
It's amazing how Epstein managed to infiltrate these women and of course Meghan Markle.
By Naomi Campbell and I believe Ron Burkle. We were with him quite a lot, and it's very disturbing to see all of this come out because I don't know what this is going.
And whether key names were avoided in mainstream reporting. Barbara says when she first spoke publicly about what she witnessed, she faced backlash. Now, with additional documents about Epstein's broader network entering public discussion, she believes more people are revisiting old timelines. At this stage, what exists are resurfaced photos, archived posts, overlapping travel dates, and personal testimonies. None of it has resulted in new legal action against Meghan, but the renewed attention has reignited questions about proximity, association, and what various individuals may or may not have known during that era. And that's why this timeline continues to trend online. For years, people dismissed these connections as coincidence, just overlapping guest lists, just party photos, just elite social circles doing what elite social circles do. But when you start stacking the timelines, the locations, the names, and the legal statements side by side, critics argue it stops looking random and starts looking structured. Supporters of Meghan say she was simply moving in ambitious entertainment circles, networking like countless other actresses trying to build careers. Soho House was a hotspot for creatives. Yacht events were common among wealthy socialites. Being photographed near powerful people does not equal involvement in wrongdoing. That's the counterpoint, and it's important to say it clearly. But critics aren't focused on random appearances. They're focused on patterns.
Julia was Jeffrey Epstein's last known girlfriend. She is on record saying that the only times she flew on a plane, went on a yacht, or whatever was with her boyfriend, Jeffrey Epstein. And here we have Rachel Meghan Markle parading on a yacht since 2014.
Retire, bitch!
At this standards like 40 years ago, Meghan Markle would have not been anywhere near anybody. She wouldn't have been allowed anywhere near the royals. But because of what the state that the royal family is in, she was able to sneak in her way.
Partying, he partied a lot. I saw so many people in the Soho, and it was dark. It was a lot of escorts were there, a lot of models were there. It was definitely a scene. Ron was there.
They point to how certain stories seem to disappear from mainstream coverage, how discussions about specific names tied to Epstein's wider social network faded quickly, how coverage around possible witnesses never developed beyond a few early reports. To them, it feels like a conversation that started and then abruptly stopped. And then there's the Soho House connection. Soho House wasn't just a casual members club, it was an access point, a place where entertainment, politics, royalty, and finance overlapped. Meghan was closely connected to people within that circle, particularly through Marcus Anderson. That's documented. What remains debated is how deep those connections ran and who else moved in those same rooms at the same time. Critics also revisit the speed of Meghan and Harry's relationship. They met in 2016. By 2017, they were engaged. By 2018, married in a globally televised ceremony. Fairy tale on the surface. But skeptics argue that major life pivots don't happen in isolation. They question whether prior networks and relationships may have played a role in introductions, positioning, or opportunity.
Maybe there's some sort of underground tunnel. I don't know, but it's definitely a scene exactly how Cipriani's upstairs was a club in New York, and it was the same vibe.
I have it that the royal family have been trying to scrub the internet from Meghan Markle's past, erase her past. They try to claim that they were in New Zealand here, that they're sitting here in New Zealand. So they try to fool the picture that I'm showing you on the left. That's them claiming that they're in New Zealand. There's a problem with that. If you look here where the little hand is, you will see the edge of basically this, I don't know how much that you have set on this stone. You can see it's literally the same stone seat, whatever. You can see it's the very same background. And that is in St. Bart's, which is literally 120 kilometers from, yes, you guessed it, Jeffrey Epstein.
Again, none of that is proof of misconduct. It's speculation built on social proximity. Barbara's broader argument isn't that there's one single smoking gun. It's that powerful networks operate through influence, access, and placement. She believes certain individuals are elevated strategically. That's her theory. It has not been proven in court, and no official investigation has made that claim. Still, what keeps this conversation alive is the resurfacing of Epstein-related documents over the past few years. Each time new files are unsealed, the public scans for familiar names. Sometimes they find them, sometimes they don't. But the scrutiny doesn't fade. It's also worth remembering that being named in social documents tied to Epstein does not automatically imply wrongdoing. Many public figures have acknowledged attending events where he was present before his criminal history became widely known. Context matters. Where things become emotionally charged is when proximity overlaps with royalty. The British royal family has already faced intense public pressure over Prince Andrew's association with Epstein. That chapter caused serious reputational damage.
Netflix series where Doria is so clearly pushing fire. Oh, this is and she's a real Uriah Heep. And it's racism. Everything is racism. Racism. I thought, no, you're right in there pushing the racist far. And so are you?
So when online commentators suggest additional peripheral links, even indirectly, it sparks immediate reaction. And then there's the media angle. Some critics argue that certain outlets aggressively investigate some figures while treading lightly around others. They question why some names trend for months, while others barely surface. Media bias claims are common in high-profile cases, but proving intentional suppression is difficult. Jessica Reed Krause's upcoming investigation promises to revisit archived materials from as far back as 2018. She claims she has screenshots, timelines, and testimony from individuals who interacted with Meghan during earlier career phases. Whether those materials contain major revelations or simply restate known connections remains to be seen. What makes this moment different is the public appetite for re-examining elite circles. The Epstein scandal changed how people view proximity to power. It made audiences more skeptical, more willing to question who attended what, who introduced whom, and who benefited from which connections. But skepticism cuts both ways. There's also the risk of guilt by association. In tightly woven celebrity networks, people cross paths constantly. A photo on a yacht does not confirm knowledge of criminal conduct. A stay at a wealthy individual's property does not establish awareness of their full background. Legal systems require evidence, not inference. At this point, what exists are overlapping social ties, archived photos, and statements made years ago by a lawyer outlining potential witness possibilities. No charges have been filed against Meghan related to Epstein. No court has accused her of misconduct. That distinction matters. Still,
Istanbul for the weekend, for the opening of the Soho House. And guess what? She was pictured there with these people, Meghan Markle, and with a group at a party in 2015 where she was simply guest, where all the rest were named. Yeah, because Meghan Markle was truly a nobody, guys. She was a
Online communities continue dissecting every detail, every date, every guest list, every resurfaced image. And with new document releases continuing to generate headlines around Epstein's broader network, conversations about anyone who crossed paths with those circles are unlikely to disappear anytime soon. Whether this leads to formal developments or simply remains a heated online debate depends on what, if anything, emerges next. For now, the timeline remains a puzzle people are determined to analyze from every angle. Everything Barbara claimed, supporters say, is now being taken more seriously. Jessica Reed Krause has reportedly been compiling research since 2018, archiving screenshots, tracking timelines, and preserving information she believes was quietly removed. She says she has documentation tied to Soho House circles, broader Epstein-related social networks, and accounts from former staff members who felt mistreated. Whether those materials confirm major wrongdoing or simply reignite debate is something the public will soon judge for themselves. There are also reports that author Tom Bauer is preparing additional material examining controversial public figures and power dynamics within elite circles. At the same time, more individuals who once moved in those spaces appear increasingly willing to share their experiences, encouraged by others speaking out. That momentum is what's fueling the renewed spotlight right now. When it comes to Prince Andrew, King Charles made a decisive move by removing his honorary military roles and royal patronages following the Epstein controversy. That decision set a visible precedent about accountability within the royal family. Some commentators argue that if any comparable, proven misconduct were ever established,
Honeypot, like for people who don't know the meaning of honeypot.
Honeypot's like a Marilyn Monroe where they like get paid to like lure the men. What's going on? She is the honeypot and she gets the women for the men.
Isn't that something?
Because they were trying to do that with me.
Involving other members or affiliates, similar standards should apply. The key word there is proven. Allegations alone are not verdicts. That brings us to the central question driving this entire online storm. Is there more information still hidden in plain sight, or is this simply a case of overlapping social circles being interpreted in the harshest possible light? The resurfaced yacht photos have intensified scrutiny of the timeline. The 2021 legal statement from Virginia Giuffre's attorney suggested Meghan could potentially have had relevant knowledge due to past associations. It did not accuse her of wrongdoing, but it did keep her name in the broader discussion. As of now, no court has found Meghan liable for any misconduct connected to Epstein. No official investigation has announced charges against her. That distinction matters. But public curiosity doesn't operate like a courtroom. It runs on unanswered questions, archived images, and statements that linger in memory. Online observers speculate about how all of this feels inside Montecito right now. Is there concern? Is there frustration? Or is this simply another wave of internet controversy that will fade like others before it? We don't have access to private conversations, only the public narrative unfolding in real time. What's undeniable is that elite networks, high-profile friendships, and global power circles continue to face deeper scrutiny than ever before. The Epstein scandal reshaped how audiences interpret proximity to influence. Even indirect associations are examined intensely. And in today's digital age, old photos never truly disappear. If Jessica's long-promised investigation delivers new verified information, the conversation could shift dramatically. If it doesn't,
So much part of Soho House, they named the rosé wine after him. It's called Lady A. It's incredibly strange that one of Epstein's closest confidants, Ron Burkle, does not get a mention.
critics may need to reconsider how far inference can reasonably stretch. Either way, the spotlight isn't dimming anytime soon. If you followed this entire breakdown, let me know what you think. Do these timelines raise legitimate questions? Or is this social overlap being blown out of proportion? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this deep dive helpful, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more updates, and share this with anyone who's been tracking the story. I'll see you on the next one.